Ever since his death, Gearbox has had the desire to move on from Handsome Jack as a character to not allow Borderlands to solely revolve around him. For better or worse, depending on who you ask, they did just that, introducing two new villains to fill the role of everyone's favorite guy. And while I respect them for going this route, to say Jack is done, to say he is gone for good, well, that's not true. Handsome Jack can, and just might still be alive in more ways than one. Now, quick side note before we go any further, if you're familiar with my content, you might know that I've done similar videos to this one before, and you'd be right, I did. One fairly recently, and the other not so recently. And originally, I wanted to remake the older one, seeing as I find it fairly dated compared to my newer stuff, but then I thought, well, if I'm gonna do that, I might as well also mention all the other stuff from a few other different videos and sources all at once, at the same time, so it's a complete experience for your enjoyment. But with that being said, there is a lot to talk about here today, so let's just get right into it. Ever since Handsome Jack was killed at the hands of the Crimson Raiders, people have been talking about his revival and return as if it was destined to take place. And, well, those people, they weren't exactly wrong. Because in the follow-up to Borderlands 2, Tales from the Borderlands, Jack did in fact make his return, but did so as a sentient AI clone of the real thing, manufactured by an obsessive Hyperion scientist named Professor Nakayama.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Gortys Project, and it's gonna lead us to a vault. And then I'll probably kill you.
But this rendition of Jack, as great as he was, did not last, as by the time Tales concluded, Rhys Strongfork, what a name, successfully thwarted Jack in his plans in one of the greatest sequences in the history of Borderlands. First, he brought down the entirety of Helio Station. Next, after the AI Jack managed to download himself into Rhys's cybernetics, Rhys literally ripped his arm and eye from his own body and vanquished Jack once and for all.
Please. Hey! Hey! I'm on my knees here! Please don't send me back there! It's not like they said! There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing there. Don't do this.
I'm sorry, Jack. It's over.
But as you are the one in control of Rhys during these events, and since Tales is a game about choices, after it is all said and done, you are given two options as what to do with the AI Jack, which still resides within Rhys's cybernetic eye. You can either destroy the prosthetic, wiping the AI from the universe, or you can keep it. Obviously, I chose to keep it, as I hope many did as well. And if this is canon, if Rhys canonically kept the AI, I'm sure many of you have guessed it by now, but that means it is still out there somewhere, that the AI Jack is still alive, probably still in Rhys's possession to this day. So there is your first way as to how Jack can come back. If by some insane reason Rhys or anyone else plugs the cybernetic pupil into something, well, Jack's back, baby. But as I brought up in my original video, there's also the thought that maybe this AI is already loose upon the Borderlands. Maybe, for God knows what reason, Rhys plugged him into a weapon that you are able to find in Borderlands 3, which is aptly named the Handsome Jackhammer.
This is great. We make a great pair. Which is to say, yeah, I'm great. You look great holding me. But it's really great.
Basically, this weapon is Jack as a gun. It talks to you, it harasses you, the enemy, it compliments itself, it kills stuff, and it can say some pretty sentient things to you, like, for example,
Hey, what do you say we find a Hyperion constructor and get me out of this gun, huh? Wait, I'll give you... I don't have a wallet on me. All right, you know what? Let's just stick with the gun for now. We'll put a pin in that.
and it's that very audio recording which got me thinking, what if this gun has a download of the original AI kept by Rhys? Or what if the Jackhammer was actually developed by Nakayama and uses the same code used to recreate Jack? Whichever version you choose to believe, what if, by some odd chance, this gun falls into the wrong hands and they unknowingly follow its directions and unleash Handsome Jack for a third time? It's possible, but an AI is not the only way Jack could return. In fact, there's two other logical options that we have to address. When Moxie approached us about seizing Jack's private casino, the Handsome Jackpot, we are reintroduced to one of my favorite characters, Timothy Lawrence, a college student paid to be one of Jack's many body doubles. Or is he? Is that actually Timothy, or is that somehow, someway, the man himself? Now, I know what you're saying. Oh, but Dave, how could Timothy actually be Jack? We saw Jack die right before our eyes in Borderlands 2. And that's true, but there are two things to note about this, one being the third option for his return. Starting with the other one, Jack is a very careful tactician. He schemes, he plots, and has been shown to place these plans into action on several occasions and come out on top. For example, in Borderlands 1, he played the original 4 Vault Hunters into finding and opening the vault, giving him a reason to petition that Hyperion assume oversight of Pandora, which he then used to take over the corporation in its entirety. He also plotted to deactivate the claptraps of the Borderlands. He encouraged many groups of Vault Hunters to join him on Pandora, only to kill them before they could open any more vaults, amongst other things. So to say that Jack might have been prepared for his untimely death in case things didn't work out, it isn't all that far-fetched. In truth, he could have sent one of his many doppelgangers to wake the warrior, knowing we'd be there to stop him. He could have also had a digiclone take his place while he stayed back and watched from afar, or, and this is where option 3 comes into play, or Jack could have actually died during our final fight, but was reconstructed by Hyperion's New You program, and he just awoke at his casino and decided to play the part of the doppelganger to get off scot-free. Now, I know what you might be saying. Dave, Gearbox has already said that New Yous are not canon and that they're just a gameplay thing, and I know, but look, work with me here. In Borderlands 3, one of the many messages you can get from the New Yous when you die is,
Hyperion, we can always bring you back, no exceptions, unless you died in a cutscene.
Jack never died in a cutscene. Roland might have, Maya might have, but Jack never did. So I'm just saying, by Gearbox's own rules, canon or not, it could happen. I'm not saying that it will, but it's always a possibility. In fact, it seems likely that out of any of these options, the most likely would probably be an AI Jack returning to cause problems. But even then, Gearbox has been very adamant on the fact that they want to move away from Jack as a character, so it's also just as likely that he'll stay as he is right now. A martyr for heroes, and a reminder of better times. If you have any questions or comments about this video, Borderlands, or Talore, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to read each and every one of them. Thanks for watching, and remember well.